Hey everyone, welcome to the Apex Wrestling School Roundtable Postseason Primer. I got that all out. I worked out well. I had it in my head. I was reading it as we did it. I almost messed it up. Donald J. Brow here from GardenStateHSWrestling.com. John Kovac and James Clark are joining me. We're going to go over our predictions for the upcoming weekend of the state tournament, the first round as we head towards states for the boys, the qualifying for the girls. So we're going to have a video here. We're live now, which thinking about it now, maybe Jared's rethinking everything because, we don't want to be working blue today. But you never know with everything going on. But I'm going to talk about all of the districts we are covering, including the 4. We're actually going to be live streaming the finals. And then we're going to do another video a little later on live talking about the girls' regions. Before we get that, let's talk about some sponsors. Apex Wrestling School, which if you kind of haven't figured it out, they're the sponsor of this, but they're also one of the main sponsors of the site. 3 locations in New Jersey, 1 in New York. Damian Logan, Dane Tabano, the Michigan teammates are the founders, one of the fastest growing schools in the area. The Harrington companies, demolition, recycling, construction, or Hoffman Landscaping. You got a really nice house, you want to make it look better, Hoffman Landscaping. You got a real dump and want to rip it down, Harrington Demolition and Recycling. Or if you want to just do some work on it, the construction company. They do it all. They've actually done a lot of work in my house, the Harrington companies. And Champion Athlete Sports Nutrition. I said it before, I'll say it again. They are the place you want to go to help get better. You could do all the training you want. If you could do every type of drill. If you don't have that inner nutrition and the gas to be able to go, you're going to fail at the biggest moments. It's all about getting everything together. Dan will help you do that. And Performance Trophies. They are a proud sponsor of our Hammer of the Match every time we do it. They're located in Randolph. They do a great job. If you guys are looking for trophies for, your youth program, your high school program, great jobs, great turnaround, very easy to work with. I've used them for some stuff. Performance Trophies. And Forum Coffee, the official coffee of GardenStateHSWrestling.com. James Grogan, who, if you're a longtime fan, went to Del Barton. He owns it and does a great job giving back to the community. So we're going to start a little bit with, we're going to go in order. I think we have 9, 10. Almost like 12 districts. Some we have more of where we have more coverage. And then when you get kind of into the central, we have 1 or 2 teams there. But I want to address a rumor. Obviously, everybody was talking about it all week. Kind of bring it up and do it. We had some restructuring at GardenStateHSWrestling.com. We had to do some stuff. And I know people were talking about it in rumors. But we have hired a new employee. So I want to introduce that new employee real quick. Who's not thrilled being on air right now. This is my new little daughter. When everybody's having grandkids, I'm having a newborn. Great job by me. Little 7-pound, 5-ounce Courtney Harlow. And look, she's wearing the official GardenStateHSWrestling.com onesie, which is available now on GardenStateHSWrestling.com. You want your kids to look the best? Go buy them. All shapes, all colors, all sizes. I got a promo that's going to make some money out. I'm a dad at 47. It's great. But this is my new little one. So she is the reason why I haven't been getting back to stuff. And she may make an appearance. She's going to eat my face here. She may make an appearance later on, but she's got to go to bedtime because apparently she enjoys farting in my hands and then laughing when I smell it. So that's her little thing she does this first week. But good night, little girl. All right, I had to do that. Okay, now let's start at District 1. It's going to be at Phillipsburg. Teams there are going to be, and I'll do them in alphabetical order, so there's no question on how I'm going to do them. And then we'll read out who we think will be the champ. James has a list. John has a list. If we differ, we'll say, hey, we differ. A lot of times I think we'll concur with some of these. And then some of these districts are going to be super quick because it's a lot of going to be almost like a dual meet for some of these when you see how many teams are having guys win. But if we go to District 1, Phillipsburg, at Phillipsburg, it's Cresskill, Demarest, Dumont, Emerson, Jefferson, Lakeland, Phillipsburg, Riverdale, Waldwick, and Westwood. Now, first off, I have the team champ Phillipsburg. I think they're, and looking at that, lineup, there's other guys who may win from different schools, but I think Phillipsburg has the depth in their home gym, and I don't think they're losing this district. And I think the guys agree with me without saying anything. I love it. I see the nodding of heads, so I guess that's correct.
I think so. I mean, one, you got to think after Sunday, they fell just short at Rutgers, that they want a chance at redemption. And I also think there's something to be said on a Saturday morning to getting up and not having to travel for your match.
Yeah, 100%. They were against a really good North Huntington team, which we knew would be good, but we weren't sure they'd be good this fast. I mean, we knew they'd be a quality team, but heading to the weights, 106. I got Jacob Campbell from Jefferson as my winner there. You guys concur with that? Any difference?
I have for Emerson Park Ridge, I picked Evan Constantine. That's who I picked at 106.
And just so nobody complains, we're not doing top when we do regions for stuff. We're going to do top 3 and 4. So it's not I'm saying that anybody else is not going to make these. Who I think are going to be the winners. We'll get more in depth as we go. When you have 15 districts, calm it down. So that's our fun part there. It's like I got a newborn baby. You're lucky I'm even awake right now. It's a lot of caffeine and other stuff I'm not allowed to mention on the air. Jared just yelled at me. 113. Speaking of Phillipsburg, I have Anthony Pettinelli walking away as a champ there.
I agree with that.
No argument here.
120. A kid I've kind of seen grow up, covering Lakeland the last few years. I think Chase Severs walks away here at 120.
I can concur with that.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of chalk in these regions.
Yeah, these districts, I think a lot of these, especially with what we're doing, you may get some surprises, but that's kind of the seeding's gotten really good the last couple of years. There might be sometimes a freshman, and obviously there might be an injury. We're not with anybody, so that's different. But the seeding has gotten really good with how they've worked it out, and sometimes there's a surprise, but usually there's not. 126, I got Massimo Gonzalez from Phillipsburg.
Gonzalez would be my pick as well.
I'm not going to pick against the guy wrestling at home.
132. This might be strange to some people. I went with Ryan McKenna from Dumont. I've seen him wrestle a little bit in some tournaments. I think he's solid. I think he's built for a district tournament.
So for me, I've got Owen Garrix of Phillipsburg. I think the last year he wrestled in the districts and regions really opened up a lot of people's eyes. And knowing that name Garrix has been around for such a long time, and knowing he's the son of John Garrix, who's the head coach of Centenary, and just knowing like now this is the time where he's starting to really get hot, I think that Garrix has a really good shot here to win another district title.
I'm going with Garrix as well. He's at home. He knows where he is. He's, his schedule's not as disrupted as everybody who's traveling to Phillipsburg. Don, do you think McKenna has an edge being a junior over Garrix being a sophomore?
A little bit, but the difference is I think what I've seen from McKenna in some of the tournaments, I think him kind of being discounted a little bit is good for him because realistically for Garrix, it's the pressure's on him. He's the top seed. You gotta advance and take nothing away from him. I could be, eating crow come Saturday night. There's just something about McKenna and you always kind of get that, you get that idea and it makes me think of somebody else. And it's actually funny. It makes me think of a guy who works with us last year. A lot of people weren't picking him, but James DeCunto. And I kind of just watched him wrestle and I'm like, he's good, but there's good. And then there's that next level. And he was like, okay, I see it. And I've just seen it from McKenna. And like I said, take nothing away from Garrix. I've loved watching him wrestle this year. Call it a gut feeling. It's a hunch. I tried to play some hunches for the Super Bowl and I have to get a second job. But other than that, but he's been kind of, somebody I think can make some noise. Heading to 138. For the next two, I have two back-to-back Lakeland champions. I have Nihus from Lakeland at 138, and a kid I've watched all 4 years and I've been really impressed with, and I think he's going to be, do really good this postseason in his final year, Langenmeyer from Lakeland. But I think those two guys take it at 138 and 144.
I think for me, I've got 138. I've got Paul Coombs from Emerson Park Ridge. 144 was tough. That was a really tough one because you see Ryan Langermeyer and you see Luke Galetta. So you have to pick one or the other. One of them is going to come out on top. But I just feel that with Galetta and the way that he's wrestled this year, and seeing Langemeyer wrestle the way that he has, I like Galetta and having that edge just at home.
And that's where I am, James. I love Langemeyer, and it would not surprise me for Langemeyer to win this class. But again, it is very tough for me to pick against a Phillipsburg wrestler with that record. He's, I believe, it's 29-1. Yep, 29-1, wrestling in his home gym. Listen, Langemeyer wouldn't surprise me, but
I agree. With Langenmeyer, I know he was a little banged up. I think it was last year going in, and he was disappointed about how he wrestled in states. And with this being his last year, and just I really like I said, for Lakeland, he kind of has now stepped into that leadership role. The last few years, he's had Sean Walker and Jack Bergman and other guys that kind of be that leader. He's really taken his team, and I think he's thrived in that role. And I just really enjoy it. I think he's going to be top notch for that. But I had predicted two teammates for 138 and 134. I'm doing the same for 150 and 157. I would be shocked Saturday night if Gavin Galetta and Gavin Hawk aren't your champions for Phillipsburg at 150 and 157.
I can agree with that for sure. But Gavin Hawk is on a mission this year at 157. He is hungry for, after that stunning loss last year in the state finals, he's hungry to go back to AC it again, but only to come out as a champion. And it starts here.
Every time I have seen Gavin Hawk wrestle, and that includes on Sunday down at Rutgers, I have seen him come out and wrestle with a mission and dominate. And I am not picking against him at this stage.
I think he has one loss this year, and I'm pretty sure he was wrestling up in that match. I think he was wrestling a bigger, because I remember that he was wrestling up a weight class or two, if I remember correctly. I don't remember. I want to say it was North Huntington. I might be wrong, but I know he was wrestling up a weight class, and it was just a bigger guy. But 165, I got R.J. Weiss from Riverdale, and at 175, I got Aiden Dugan from Westwood.
I would agree with both of those.
Yeah, I'm not gonna differ with either of those picks.
And then for the final three weight classes, I got three guys teams we don't cover, but the pedigree's there. I have Yusef Ibrahim from Riverdale at 190. I'm taking Ron Gal from Cresskill at 215, and Dante Downey from Westwood at heavyweight.
My only difference is at 215, I picked Luke Lapira from Demarest at 215 to be the champion.
See, now I'm at 215, and I'm looking at Nick Barbarian of Riverdale.
And you know what? It's funny to me, unless you're like one of those guys who is that state pedigree wrestler at 215 or heavyweight, it's literally a toss-up with a lot of these upper weights. Because, I always tell people when I do the county tournament at Morris County, I usually do the pictures for the placards, and I try to get them done early. And there's been so many times I get the top 4 seeds, or I do after the quarterfinals on Friday night, and you get some random seed that makes a run who just starts, throwing people and pinning them. But so for our team champ for District 1, we all have Phillipsburg. Now we're going to head up the road, right up, it would be 90. No, it'd be up towards 94. I don't know. I'm not good with directions. I was trying to make an analogy, went off the rails. So we're going to head up to Kittatinny, District 3, where we will be live streaming the finals there. And then on the call for that, if I remember, who's going to be on the call for that, John?
I'll be there. I will be there. I'm not sure who I'm with. It could change in 10 minutes. I'm really not.
It's always switching around as we're figuring it out, but
could be anybody.
So for District 3, we have Bergen Catholic, DePaul, Kittatinny, Newton, North Warren, Sparta, Vernon, Walk Hill Valley, West Milford. Looking at this, I think it comes down to really 2 teams, but there's one that I pick ahead of it, and that's Bergen Catholic. They've just been really good. Obviously, the other team I look at is DePaul. and I see a couple guys who I think could be individual winners, but I think Bergen Catholic wins this district.
I can concur with that. I think Bergen Catholic is coming off of a really nice season in the team season, and this is where their time is where they show in the individual seasons. I think DePaul will get a couple of champions here and there, and definitely get themselves on par, but Bergen Catholic should be the winner here.
I'm going to go against you just for the sake of going against you. Seriously, it's what because I'm looking at it, and I had 3 teams I wrote down. Bergen Catholic, they're 11-3. You can't pick against that. Kittatinny's 12-11, but they're at home. We just talked about that with Phillipsburg. There's a lot to be said about wrestling at home. And DePaul and James, you and I were on the call at the Passaic County tournament. Don, you talked about a school being geared to wrestle in tournaments. Yeah. I think DePaul is one of those teams that, they're 3-17 in duels. But, man, at the PCTs, every time you turned around, there was a guy from DePaul on the mat scoring points.
Yeah, that shocked me. When I saw those results, I'm like, when I picked, not that I think they're a bad team, I'm just like, that depth, because what people don't realize is to win something like this, it's not only if you make the finals, you got to have those guys who make the advancement, and they're one of those tough teams. But, I agree 100%. And there's another team, I have a couple winners, but I don't know if they have enough guys. But let's go to who we have here. I'm going to run through real quick. You guys tell me if you disagree with anybody I have. 106, Matthew Mulligan, Bergen Catholic.
Agree.
Marcos Asan, Bergen Catholic at 113.
I have Connor Hallowich of North Warren.
Not a bad choice. I mean, he's right there. So
I had Hallowich as well.
Okay. 120, I have Joseph Rizzuto from DePaul.
Yeah.
Same here. When we saw him at the PCT, it was awesome.
Yeah, he's one of the good young wrestlers for that squad. 126, Nathan Braun from Bergen Catholic.
I agree.
132, I have Ryan Harenko from Sparta.
Not so fast.
Oh, I skipped you. Go back.
Not so fast, my friend. Credit to Lee Corso. I'm going there with Devin I believe it's pronounced Roddy of DePaul. He's a sophomore. He's 23-7, and he really
that's what it is
at the PCTs.
Delvin wrote, okay, no, and that's actually my other choice. I was debating. I'm like, no. Braun is one of those guys who just kind of surprises you. For 132, I got Ryan Harenko from Sparta.
That's who I have, Ryan Harenko.
Clark's been talking up the Harenkos to me since I joined the staff. I got to go with Harenko.
138, I got Gideon Gonzalez from Bergen Catholic.
This one was a tough one for me, but I went with Logan Harenko. I think if one brother's going to win one, I would imagine the older brother would win the other.
True. John?
I'm going to do something crazy here because I was on the fence here. And I was looking at Logan Harenko. I'm looking at Gonzalez as the top seed. We're batting all this around. I'm going to go with Isaias Hernandez from DePaul. He's a sophomore. He's 20-11, and let's go into a weight class with 3 different picks and see what happens.
Yeah, works for me. 144, I got Sean Brown from Sparta.
I agree with that one.
I can only disagree with you so many times, Don, and keep a job. I'm going to agree with you.
Now, I have to pronounce this name because I've learned it for the last few years at Wayne Hills. Now he's at Bergen Catholic. Salzraka Tasei from Bergen Catholic, I think, wins at 150.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. That kid Don talked about is going to win that.
that Tasei guy. Now, I would get told how to say his name all the time, and you would ask a different person, and it'd be a different way. So finally, I had to ask his dad. And he told me. It's like, okay.
You don't say.
I like what you did there. That's for the smart thinking fan. 157, I got Joey Canova from Bergen Catholic.
Yeah, that's who I have too.
Yeah. I got Joey.
165, Aaron Stone from Newton.
I got something a little bit different, just kind of keep the trend going. I got AJ DiGiovanni from Bergen Catholic.
I'm going with Cody Anish Farrell from DePaul. 21-10 coming in. He's the number 1 seed. He won 175 at the Passaic County tournament as the 3 seed wrestling up.
That's why he's the good seed here. He gets everything going. Speaking of a good seed, Ethan Dowling of Kittatinny, I think, takes it at 175. In his home gym, just the way he's been on. The only, if I remember, the only loss that I can remember him having was he lost to Menbelig, and who finished 5th in the state from St. Benedict's Prep. So, and he was right there. We were actually, I'm pretty sure it was at the Kittatinny tournament. He was right there till the last second and got taken down with like 2 seconds left. So you battle a state medalist like that. I'm giving you the credit, and great kid. Really, really great kid. Great, great wrestler. Family went through their linchpin for that program, Ethan Dowling.
This one was a tough one for me, but knowing Kittatinny and their history and knowing Coach Gill, knowing their wrestlers, they never walk out empty-handed in the districts, especially at home. So I think it will be a good match between him and Genti and Rizzi from Bergen Catholic, but I think Dowling's going to take it, though.
I agree. I think Dowling's the senior. He's got an overwhelming dual record. I think Dowling ends up on top.
Heading to 190, Brian Clifford from Bergen Catholic at 190 is my pick there.
I can agree with that.
I'm going to go with Rendon from Vernon just to be different. And again, I'm going to base that on the fact that he's a senior. It's his last shot. And he's coming in 19-3.
Did you say you weren't going to disagree with me anymore because you wanted to stay employed? How dare you? No, it's fine. 215.
Up my night. I'll disagree.
Head to 215. I got Liam Haslock from Sparta. That's just my pick there.
This one was a bit of a tough one. I was going with Haslock, but I also was thinking of another one too, something a little bit different. And they haven't had a champ yet here that we've picked. So I'm going with Jeffrey Pabinuik from West Milford.
Another person I had in my mind, but John, go ahead.
I'm going with Haslock because I've seen him and he impressed me.
And then finally, I think we can all agree at heavyweight, Benjamin Shue from Bergen Catholic. I mean, this should be, and no disrespect to any of the wrestlers, this should be a good night for him.
I can agree with that. I go with Shue as well.
Yeah, I go with Shue.
Now, headed down to District 4 at West Essex, we have Butler, Hawthorne, High Point, Kinnelon, New Milford, Northern Highlands, Pequannock, Pompton Lakes, Wayne Hills, and West Essex. Now, my thinking here of who was going to be the team, because there's 3 that jumped out to me I thought had a really great shot. High Point, New Milford, and West Essex. And when I went through and looked at the different brackets and who was where, the ones that really, I had to go, if I'm making picks, how the numbers fall. So if I have a team winning 5 championships, they have to be my pick. So looking at what I have here and who's picking where, and I may be wrong, I think it's going to be very close, I'm taking New Milford here.
This was also tough for me too, Don. I had to go back. Originally, I was thinking High Point, and then it dawned on me for New Milford, because New Milford had a nice, really good season as well too. They made it to they beat Kittatinny in the sectional finals, and I'm going with the home team of West Essex. I think they just have just a bit of that tiny edge of where they just have a little bit more individuals than the other 2 teams too. So that's why I went with West Essex. But New Milford is definitely going to be there, and so is High Point. They'll be very close.
You could beat, like, even with how you win, you look at it, they could be right there, get a couple finalists, and, may finish second with some places, but still get the points they need. This is going to be a really tight race. This is one of the ones I had to look at. Like, you can pick other ones and go, okay, you know how that's going to end. This is going to be a really, really good district.
I looked at High Point. I looked at New Milford. But I just came back to one, they're at home, and two, they're deep. And we just saw them not that long ago, Don. And that is a deep team. And they're going to pile on points. I'm going with West Essex at home.
Yeah, I mean, this is a one of those districts that's going to be really good. So my first two are teammates, and I think brothers. I may be wrong, and maybe cousins. Like Patty Duke. I don't know. I'm out of it today. 106, I have Dominic Malfitano from Kinnelon, and at 113, I have Steven Malfitano from Kinnelon winning those weights.
I have the 113 pounder of Malfitano from Kinnelon, but 106 I have Logan Tackage from High Point.
I like Tackage as well. He's a good, based on my seeing him and liking the way he wrestles.
120, I have Jack Lorper from Hawthorne. 126, Devin Ryan from New Milford. And 132, Jason Krastowski from Butler.
I agree with 120 and 126. 132, this was a tough one because I really like Jason Krastowski a lot too, but
deep weight.
Yeah, this is a really deep weight at 132. And I'm going with the homer. I'm going with Nick Basante from West Essex, just by the skin of his teeth.
Now I'm going with Lorper at 120. I'm going with Christian Basante at 26. And I'm going with Nick at 32.
All solid picks. Then 138, I got Jersey, one of my other favorite names, Jersey Ryan from New Milford. 144, Sutter Totaro from New Milford. And 150, Nick Clayton from High Point.
So I've got so they're a little bit different. So I've got Thomas Ruane from West Essex and his teammate Reed Classy, and then I have Nick Clayton from High Point at 150.
I've got Ruane and Classy, both of West Essex. And then I am looking at, and we saw him, and he impressed me a lot at the PCTs. I'm leading on that, Christian Mercia.
That's not a bad one. Chris Mercia is a solid wrestler. 157, Levi Showman from Northern Highlands. 165, I have Mercia's teammate Chad McConnell from Pompton Lakes. And at 175, Carmine Massey from the home team, West Essex.
I'm going with 157 was a tough one, but I'm going with Benjamin Marquise from West Essex. I've got Chad McConnell at 165, and then Massey from West Essex at 75. I really thought Massey really turned it on last year, and especially this year. He's going to do really well in this postseason.
I had and am still having a hard time with 157 in this district. I think I'm going to go with Shulman from Northern Highlands at 65. You know what, 65, and I saw him recently. I'm going to go with Jaden Rupali from High Point. And at 75, I'm going to go with Carmine Massey from West Essex.
And then the last three we got here are 190, Jake Gray from Northern Highlands. And then two guys I think are far and above the favorites at this weight. Their weights, 215, Adam Masved from Wayne Hills. And 285, Mason Brancato from Pompton Lakes.
I got all three of those as well, too, as my picks. Brancato is just, he's unbelievable.
Mason, don't call me Remy Brancato.
Yes,
I can't.
Yes, I've heard that one.
I can't go against any of those.
Now we're gonna head to District 5.
Any of those.
We'll go ahead to District 5 at Passaic Valley. This one to me is far and away There's some good teams, some guy there. You got the team that just beat Del Barton. St. Joe's Montville's walking away with this. If you beat Del Barton in Rutgers and you don't win District 5, not only if you're the coach should you quit, every kid on that team should have to transfer back to where they're from. If you beat Del Barton, one of the top teams in the country, and no, I guess it is a disrespect, but no disrespect to any other teams with Bergenfield, Dwight Morrow, Fort Lee, Hackensack, Leonia, Manchester, Passaic Valley, St. Joe's Montville, Teaneck, and Tenafly. If you don't win this district, what the hell is going on?
You see, I can't really disagree. It's fun to go with the upsets, but there's no way that St. Joe's Montville wins this. There is a way that they win it, but there's no way that any other team is going to concur close to them.
I saw them win that match at Rutgers on Sunday. I saw the way they reacted, and they feel validated. And in talking to Tom Farinaro, the head coach there, they built everything on this feeling of being slighted and ignored and seated too low and having to travel and not being taken seriously. And they finally have everybody together, and they're not happy. And they want to make people pay for them being slighted, and that's what they're going to do Saturday.
See, that's the thing. Everybody always talked about because, we had St. Joe's Montville and Del Barton the last 3 years in the non-public A finals. And I kept telling everybody, they have the kids. They're going to be, I know some teams worry about it. There is not one of these top non-public teams who they'll tell you out front and be fine with it. They could care less about their dual meet record. Could care less. If they qualify for a tournament and they have all their guys, they're a favorite. And I knew watching St. Joe's Montville down at the Catholic school duels in January, they didn't have all their guns. They were like, okay, we'll see what happens. And people are like, oh, St. Joe's Montville, they're not going to beat this. I'm like, are you out of your mind? I'm like, this team has kids who are hurt. When they get back and they're ready, I could care less if they qualified in the tournament as the 15th seed for non-public. They were making a run. And that's why I'm not shocked. So for them to do it, it's not shocking me. I'm going to run through this. You tell me if you disagree with anybody I have. I'm just going to run straight through. 106, JoJo Burke, St. Joe's Montville. 113, Charles Esposito.
On Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, clinched it for him. Charles Esposito, St. Joe's Montville. Jonathan McGinty, where? St. Joe's Montville. 126, Mikey Batista. Oh, here's a new one, St. Joe's Montville. 132, Vincent Pena, St. Joe's Montville. 138, Adrian DeJesus, former state champion, St. Joe's Montville. This is the only ones I have different. 144, I have Joshua Vasquez from Manchester. 150, I have Aiden Mulrooney from home team Passaic Valley. 157, I have, I'm hoping it's a typo, but Ialaf. I hope I'm saying that right. Garaquilla from Hackensack. I hope I didn't completely white man butcher that name. I apologize if I did not put the accent on the right words. Any disagreement so far?
I'm with you.
Emilio Velasquez from Fort Lee. Probably one of the best wrestlers, and I'll take credit for this. I see the family a lot and everything. Ryan Burton from St. Joe's Montville. I told his mother, he used to wrestle at DePaul his freshman year. He did my all-star match that year. I told her watching him wrestle, he's going to be a future state champion. He is pound for pound one of the best wrestlers I've seen in a long time. Just insanely, he is almost like the real-life version of Shoop, and I don't see Loudon Swain in this tournament. So, that's an old reference. We got some of these young guys on the staff have no idea what I'm talking about.
We got to finish that test.
They have to. 190, I got Dante Benvenuti winning it there for Passaic Valley. And then Anthony Harris from St. Joe's Montville at 215 and Christian Alvarez from St. Joe's Montville at heavyweight.
I'm with you all the way through.
The only one I just said was different was St. Joe's at 144 of Ryan Mitchell. That was the only one, but everybody else 100% agree.
And that's what it is. Like that's why you get like some really close districts, and then you have one which, the only way St. Joe's Montville is not winning that district if some of the schools send somebody up and they flatten the tires on the bus and they miss weight. That's the only way that's happened. And we had the District 6 at Fair. Oh, in case we didn't specify, St. Joe Montville is going to win District 5. District 6 at Fairlawn. We got Clifton, Elmwood Park, Fairlawn, Garfield, Hasbrook Heights, Lodi, Paramus, Passaic, and Saddlebrook. To me, this really comes down to two teams, but one's head above. I got Mount Olive winning this.
I agree with that.
Agree.
And then 106, I got Christian Beres from Mount Olive.
That's who I have.
Agree.
Nicholas for 113, Nicholas Carvajal from Hasbrook Heights at 113.
That's who I also have as well.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Piemonte at 120. Kid's been dominant all year for Mount Olive. I see nobody beating him. He's going to have tough riding the stakes because we obviously know who's in that bracket when he gets down there. But that kid's making the podium this year. I'll put money on that. He's making the podium. 126. I'm going with the hometown guy, Brody Bogues from Fairlawn.
I have Nick Gustatello from Paramus at 126.
Okay.
I'd go with Bogues.
And the one thing I'm really happy if Bogues wins it, nothing against the other guys, he was there when this team had nobody a couple years ago. And Coach Dimitri kind of came in, and he was that leader who helped get this program going to where they win. They knock off the defending Group 4 champions in Ridge at Mount Olive in the match we called. And that's like the reward for sticking around. He did a great job, and earned it. From 132 to 157, I got all Mount Olive. Mateo Eagleson, Brandon Beres, Colin Smythe, Justin Bullock, and Tanner Perez.
I have for 132, so I have the teammate of Dimitro Bodan from Paramus. I have Beres at 38. At 44, I have Gabriel Alcocer, I believe is how you pronounce it. If I didn't pronounce it right, I apologize. From Elmwood Park. 150, Justin Bullock, and then 57, Tanner Perez of Mount Olive.
I would agree with Don's picks on that.
Now, 165, I got Joseph Galetta from Clifton. 175, I got Harris Kromenhoek that's one of the coolest looking names I've seen. Harris Kromenhoek from Hasbrook, if I'm saying that right, from Hasbrook Heights, and Galetta's teammate Nick Doctor from Clifton at 190. But I also could have at 190. I also could have gone with from Mount Olive. So I could have gone there because I think that's going to be a really close match.
I have Galetta at 165. I think he's really turned it on this year, and I think he'll have a nice tournament here. Then at 75, I went back to Mount Olive and got Stephen Hayek, and then 190, Nick Doctor, who's one of my favorite wrestlers that I've seen wrestle this year.
And on a side note, Doctor's actually going to be calling the girls' southern region for us, so he'll be on the call there. Stepping in as he's done, which we try to do. But go ahead, John. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay. I'm going with Galetta at 65. I'm going with Dumming at 75. At 90, I'm going with Cumming from Mount Olive.
Did you say Cumming twice?
No. 75, I said Joseph Dumming of Clifton.
Dumeng. Okay, I thought you said
Dumeng.
from Clifton.
Sorry.
From Clifton. No,
Yeah.
I was fine. I'm like, wait a minute. I said, listen, I'd love for a kid to win 2 district titles in 1 year. I don't know if it's ever been done. Maybe that would have been the premise of Teen Wolf 3. Just have him wrestle all the weights he wants. And then at 215 and 285. Listen, I'm throwing out the old references. I got some great references if you're old as hell. And I'm not that old. I'm here. Our numbers right now at the AARP crowd is through the roof. And then you head to 215 and 285. 2 guys I've got a chance to really watch and cover this year. I got Nico Gonzalez from Mount Olive, and I got Isaac Kazamovsky from Clifton, the James Bond villain, which now I'm being told was never said, but okay.
Yeah, no, I was credited for saying that, and I don't ever remember saying it, but I enjoy both these wrestlers. I especially enjoys the James Vaughn villain at 285. I'm going with both of those guys.
Yeah, I'm going with Nico Gonzalez, and I'm going with Jared Martini, both from Mount Olive.
Perfect. Head to District 7 at Warren Hills. There's going to be the teams that are there are Cedar Grove, Dover, Lenape Valley, Mountain Lakes, Parsippany, PCTI, Roxbury, Warren Hills, and Wayne Valley. This really, there's there's two teams that really jump out to me. Well, three. First, I think PCTI has a lot of depth and can get some kids and get the points. Warren Hills has some good kids, and the host school. And then I really like Wayne Valley, though. You're coming off a sectional title. They got some good numbers. They got the depth. They can get the people in there. They're not really a older team, so they got some experience, especially. And I said this to Coach Schroeder. Something happened last year, probably the week before sectionals. A switch flicked, and it was a completely different squad. First, seventh seed to host a sectional final and ran through, and then this year just dominating. So, I mean, they won the PCT, and I thought they were going to be good, but then, they beat PCTI. They won their conference. They have been on another level, and I think it's going to show here.
This was tough for me too. I looked at a couple of teams. Even PCTI I felt like was maybe the second closest to Wayne Valley, but I think Wayne Valley does win this.
I would agree. I looked at PCTI, but I just think that Wayne Valley is where they need to be to pull this off.
So, my 106, I got Rocco Caputo from Cedar Grove.
This one for me was a tough one. I was going with Caputo. There were a couple different names I was looking at, but who I really did like, who they wrestled Clifton earlier in the year. I really liked Nicholas Nugent from PCTI. I think he's got a pretty good shot here, and I think they'll win at 106.
I like Ewan. I've seen him. He looked good, but I'm going to pick Alex Holdfeld from Wayne Valley because I was very impressed with him when I saw him wrestle.
Now, one kid I'm picking, and I like what he's done. I think he can get the greatest seed. Frank DeMary from Parsippany. I've seen this kid wrestle. Just that tough. Like, he's a good wrestler, and if he wanted to, he could have. When the team numbers were low, he could have went somewhere else. He could have did something else. He could have been on a team. He stuck around. He's had a great individual year. He's helping that program rebuild going forward. And I think he rewards that program and that faith with a district title here.
This was another tough one. And I think DeMary has a really good shot here. Only, as we've said, only one champion comes out of here. I do like Augie Zemretta. He's had a really nice start to his career, and now going into his junior year and a really nice record. And the matches and how he came out at HWS and Tech Fall to Pettinelli from Phillipsburg in the finals goes to show you how technically sound this guy is. He's impressive. I'm going with Zemretta from Warren Hills.
I am looking very hard and thought about this one, and I still haven't made up my mind, but I just did because I confirmed what I thought. I'm going with, and I'm going to butcher this name, Mohammed Abu Hadba of PCTI. Had a tech fall in the final at the PCT tournament, and I just have a good feeling about him.
Another tough wrestler. That's a really good win. That's why it's so tough. 120 to 132. I got a trio of Warren Hills guys: Charlie Piccioni from Warren Hills, Davey Reinhardt from Warren Hills, and Tyler Redfield from Warren Hills. Side note: I actually went to high school with Reinhardt and Piccioni's parents.
And I can agree with you. I picked all three of those Warren Hills guys as well.
So did I.
Then I head to next set of weights. I got a pair of Wayne Valley guys with Noah Zindaki at 138, Cole Perry at 144, and a guy who I've been super impressed with since we started doing Essex County or Passaic County. James Conklin from PCTI. Those are my three there.
I've got Zindaki at 38, and then 44. Tough one, but I went with Gage Graziano from Lenape Valley.
Another solid one.
Oh yeah, 100, and he just celebrated his 100th win recently too. And then 150, can we really say James Conklin of PCTI, who was the OW at the PCTs? He's on a whole different level this year, and there would be no shock if he went deep, very deep in AC this year.
38, I'm going with Aiden Webb from Warren Hills. 44, Graziano from Lenape Valley. And 50, I don't think there's a pick other than Conklin. Conklin is, I think, destined, as you said, to go deep.
I also, in my head, when I was making that pick, I was trying to find somebody else to pick besides Conklin because I covered their section final match and they played the Who Let the Dogs Out after they won. And that song's been in my head since. Annoying. I can't get rid of it now. They were all celebrating.
The school that I work at full time, the nickname is the Bulldogs. At dismissal every Friday, they play it. So it's in my head all the time. Welcome to my nightmare.
Heading to 157, I got Nicholas Kemmerer from Roxbury, 165, Alexander Perez from Wayne Valley, and 175, Ronaldo Diajacopo from Mountain Lakes.
So I've got at 157, I have Conklin's teammate of Tyler Whartonby. And then I have at 65, I have Alexander Perez of Wayne Valley. And then I do like Ronaldo Di Chiacapo from Mountain Lakes this year, who's been impressive putting Mountain Lakes on the map this year and should be very well represented in this postseason.
I like Whartonby of PCTI at 57. I like Perez of Wayne Valley at 65. And at 75, I'm going to go with Chalk. I'm going to go with Ronaldo Giacopo of Mountain Lakes.
I think you actually just pronounced it right. I think we're messing it up. Now that you said it, I realized, oh, wait a minute. I think I'm right in saying it. Heading to 190. 190 and 215, I got Wayne Valley teammates Sean Van der Linde and Adam Newfall. And at 285, I got Jason Dixon from PCTI, the kid who almost cost me a Disney trip 2 years ago when he almost ran into my wife.
Yes, that will be a match we will never forget. And I'm going with all three of those guys as well.
I am as well.
Okay, we're going to head down to District 8 at Montville. We were talking a little bit about this before it goes on the air. This is a tough district to pick because there's so many quality wrestlers in here that, could, get some advancement, go from here. I mean, you look at some teams we don't really cover a lot, but go to an Immaculata who have solid kids. You got Montville, you got Morris Hills, Morris Knolls. I honestly, and I don't know why I do this, and I look and I just realize I have to because of how it is. Par Hills may not have the greatest dual meet record, but they're another team that's built for that tournament style. And, I looked and I'm like, how can I not pick them when I have so many of their guys winning championships?
So this one for me, and even with Par Hills, as we were talking about, they are this year's Lakeland for sure. This was tough because one, I'm going to be there, and two, it's Morris Knolls.
Can I carry the lead on that? Yes, you will be broadcasting from there, James Clark.
Yes, and Montville. Montville is also the home team too. When these Morris Knolls and Montville met earlier in the year, it was pretty much won on that last bout by Morris Knolls, and Morris Knolls has been finding ways to win matches this year. So this one was tough because Montville's got a lot of good individuals, but I've really been impressed with Knolls this year, and I think they're on a different level in terms of how they compete in the postseason. So I'm going with Morris Knolls to be the team winner here, but with Montville in a very, very close second and Par Hills being right there with them.
Purely sentimental reasons. and purely because they gave me one of the biggest thrills watching wrestling this winter, I'm going with Knowles.
That was a great
I
match.
can totally, I can totally see Par Hills winning this match. I'm going with Knowles because after watching that Morris Hills duel, I can't pick against him. I just can't do it.
That's 100% valid. All right. So we're gonna run through these real quick because I have a baby that's screaming and my wife's gonna kill me if we don't start eating dinner soon. So 106, Logan Forgach, Par Hills. 113, Luke Maneri, Montville. 120, James McGinty, Par Hills. Any differences?
Nope. I got all the same guys.
I'll go with all them too.
126 and 132, pair of Immaculata guys, Derek Stuthpin and Mason Teddenbull, I guess, from Immaculata. 138, Mario Fernini from Par Hills, and 144, Nate Keller from Immaculata.
My only difference is 126. I got Brody Frank of Morris Hills. 132, Ryder. Yeah, absolutely. Ryder, stand back from Morris Knowles, Mario Fernini from Par Hills, and then I got Nate Keller of Immaculata.
My only difference from Don is I too am going with Brody Frank.
Heading to 150, I got Phoenix LaCourte from Booton. 157, Anthony Caponegro from Par Hills. 165, Luke Shivas from Morris Knowles. And then 175 and 190, a pair of Bogota teammates, Derek Rodriguez and Isaiah Carrion.
This was tough, but I've got Marino from Montville at 150. 157, I've got Tyler Cott from Morris Knowles. His teammate at 165, Luke Shivas. I've got Derek Rodriguez of Bogota at 175. And then 190, I got a different one, but I got Caden Montoya from Morris Knowles.
Where we start? 157?
150.
150. So I'm also going to go with LaCourte from Booton at 150. I'm going to go with Caponegro from Par Hills at 57. At 65, I'm going to go with Shivas. At 75, I'm going to go with Derek Rodriguez of Pagoda Ridgefield Park.
And then 190.
90, I'll go with Montoya.
And then 215 in heavyweight, I got Alex Bauman from Par Hills and Alex Husty from Montville.
For me, it's Sean Elsmore from Montville, and then a 285, Lucas Nagua from Morris Knowles.
I'll go with Bauman at 15. For the same reason that I picked Knowles to win this, I'm going to go with Nagua.
That win. I was going to say the same thing. That's why I was on the fence with him about, but
I can't not. I can't not.
Okay. We're going to head to the next one. And as I said, this is District 9. It's going to be at Randolph, Barringer, Bloomfield, Delbarton, Lyndhurst, Madison, North Collegiate, Orange, Randolph, St. Mary's, Rutherford, Mendham. Delbarton. I don't know what you want me to say. There's going to be so many. This is like a Delbarton duel meet. I don't even know how to say and try. I don't know how to make this interesting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way. Like, this is and I don't care. Complaining what? This is like the chicken with no seasoning. There's nothing I can do. This is the egg salad with raisins. You're there. It's whatever. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, if you don't think Delbarton's winning, it's like St. Joe's Montville or Bergen Catholic. Have you watched a match? Like, maybe there might be an upset, but like when we used to do the county tournaments, James, you know this. Delbarton would get like a 6th or 7th seed in. It's like a freshman, and they'd run their way. Delbarton had a kid win as a backup from their JV a couple years ago. Forte. Kind of horrible seed, wins it all. But I'm just going to run through this. You guys tell me if there's any difference. I mean, we're going to analyze this. We know what's going to happen. It's like, it's insane. So 106, Peter Terranova, Delbarton. 113, Cameron Sons, Delbarton. 120, Tommy Marchetti, Delbarton. 126, I have Nathan Boyd from Lyndhurst. Nathaniel Boyd. 132, Ryan DeGeorge, Delbarton. 138, Chase Quinault, Delbarton. 144, I have Anthony Monero, St. Mary's, Rutherford. 150, Jaden James, Del Barton. 157, Trevor Jones, Del Barton. 165, Alessio Parenton, Del Barton. Did you think I was going to pick against Alessio, who's won the last 2 state titles? You're out of your mind. 175, Jesse Denegri, Del Barton. 190, Carl Betts, Del Barton. 215, Elbrus Majaga, Del Barton. And then heavyweight, I was thinking of taking Hoser, but I'm going to go with Gabriel McCulloch from Bloomfield.
My only difference, I would say, would be 106, Aiden Riley from Mendham, who's been very, 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 very solid and very good the way that he won the MCT this year. And I think we'll give Del Barton its toughest match in the finals.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm going to go with Don's picks. There's a lot in this district I haven't seen.
All right. So we're going to head to District 10 at Cranford. This is going to be Beck. Oh, by the way, did we say who won District 9? Del Barton. District 10 at Cranford. Beckton, Caldwell, Cliffside Park, Cranford, Hoboken, North Bergen, Rutherford, Secaucus, Union City, Weehawken. To me, this comes down to 2 teams, Caldwell and Cranford. And the same reason when I picked before, I have numerous champions for both teams. I have one more for Cranford. That's why I'm going with Cranford.
So this was tough. I mean, it really was a tough one. And no disrespect to Cranford or my cousin, because my cousin is a baseball player, football player for Cranford.
I don't think he wants to be associated.
But looking at the results and looking the individuals, I really do like Caldwell here, and I think they just get that slightest edge. But you're going to see Cranford really come out on. You're going to see a lot of their individuals go into the finals, but I think Caldwell edges it out by just like the slimmest of their teeth.
I'm going with Caldwell just because I've seen more of them, but can totally see Cranford win this.
All right, so 106, I got Michael McCormack from North Bergen. 113, I got Carmine Sipper from Caldwell. 120, I got Yankee Maybe from Caldwell. And 126, I got Dom Holler from Caldwell.
My only difference was 120. I've got the North Bergen wrestler of David Vasquez, but everybody else I agree with 100%. But I do like the name.
Yankee Maybe's one of my favorite names. I love it. I talked to him after his match at the group semi, and he had gotten like John. I think John was with me. Whoever was he, there was a point deduction. There was a point deduction on the edge when the kid, I don't remember who it was from High Point, kind of threw a fist. And I said, oh, it's not the first time somebody's tried to punch Yankee Maybe. And he starts laughing. And I said, except for his arch nemesis, Red Sox, I guess. And he kind of looked at me. His father laughed. Like some of the people, if that wasn't that, because they understood what I was doing and it just went over his head and they had to explain it to him. So I was like, okay.
I agree on those picks. I don't. Sipper and Maybe both wrestled very well on Sunday.
So heading to 132, I got J.J. Leonard from North Bergen. 138, Solomon Soriente from Caldwell. And then 144, 150, and 157, all Cranford. Iogan O'Hara, Luke Schultz, and Dylan Jones.
My only difference was at 132, I went with Anthony Barrett from Caldwell, but I agree with everything else.
I agree with Don's whole slate there.
Now, 165, I got Urami Vasquez from North Bergen, Jordan Chapman from Cranford at 175, who finished second last year. 190, Joey Asapora from Cranford, Michael Mignone from Caldwell at 215, and Aiden Materano from Secaucus at heavyweight.
I agree with all those, especially Jordan Chapman. If you can't take Jordan Chapman at 175 to win a district title, man, you're out of your minds. If you haven't seen him wrestle Harvey Luddington last week in the group semis, you better go back and watch that match. What a match he put up with him.
You can actually go back and watch his state championship match with Alessio Parenton last year on the site.
I'm
trying to get the numbers up, James.
That match last night.
Yeah,
the
he's
Chapman match from last week.
and Ludington was down. Like a lot of people don't realize that, and he came back and won at the end. So I mean, that was a really good setup there. But heading to District 11 at Nutley, this was a hard one for me to pick. Belleville, Glen Ridge, Governor Livingston, Kearney, Livingston, Montclair, Nutley, Verona, West Morris, West Orange. I wound up looking at everything and just because I think there's teams that have good blocks of wrestlers and they can make a run. I went with West Morris here just because I feel they have a few more of those good wrestlers.
I agree with that. It was a tough one because I like Nutley and their individuals as well as Governor Livingston, but I think West Morris is just the slightest bit better in terms of winning a district title. So I went with them as well.
West Morris is deep, and I think that's going to carry him. And they have guys that you can pen in as district champs. Don't pencil them in, write it in pen.
So for picks, 106, I have Matt Pagan from Kearney, 113 and 120, back-to-back West Morris, Mark Montore and Brody Neal. 126, Brandon Rayak from Governor Livingston, and 132, Jacob Harrison from West Morris.
My only difference was with 106, I got Matthew Pagan from Kearney, and then 132 was a toss-up for me. I feel I liked Harrison, what he's done this year for the Wolfpack, but I went with Jesse Wagner of Verona at 132.
Now, James, you did say, no, I said Matthew Pagan from Kearney.
You did.
Yes.
So, okay. So just
one difference. That's usually how math works. John, you?
26, I'm going with Christoph Cifelli of Nutley.
Okay. 138, Nicholas Adams from West Orange. 144, Antonio Maiden from Nutley. 150, Louis Della Volpe from Nutley. 157, Aiden Rotbaum from Nutley. And 165, Alex DiDorio from Livingston.
I went with Adams at 38. I went with from West Orange. 44, Antonio Maiden. 50, I went Vincent Capone because I just like that Capone name from Governor Livingston. I went with and Aiden Rotbaum from Nutley, and 65 was Christian Garcia from Governor Livingston.
I went with your picks on that one, Don.
And then 175, I got Deacon Frayne from West Morris. 190, Sean Vilches from Nutley. 215, Nathan Faxon from Governor of Livingston. And a kid we're going to be hearing a lot of this postseason, Tommy Borgia at heavyweight from West Morris.
My only difference was 190. I picked Christopher Kowalik from West Morris.
I did as well.
Going to head over to District 12 at Morristown. I'll be on the call there. The old stomping grounds. They changed that district number so many times that it's always my favorite one at Morristown. You got Belvedere, East Orange, Hackettstown, Hanover Park, Morristown, Newark Academy, North Star Academy, Pope John, St. Benedict's Prep, and Whippany Park. I was crunching the numbers on this one. I got to go with Pope John.
Yeah, there was a couple different teams. Hanover Park, St. Benedict's has some good individuals. Hackettstown has some good individuals. Morristown does, but I think if you're going to talk about a team that poises to have greater individual success, is going to be Pope John.
Yeah, depth is going to carry Pope John here.
So 106, I got Stephen Vidal from Hackettstown. 113, Jake Holly from Pope John. 120, Nick DeFrancesco Antonio from Hanover Park. 126, Colin McDonald from Morristown. And then I got 3 Pope John guys, Dalton Weber at 132, Carson Walsh at 138, and Donnie Almeida at 144.
So I've got at 106, Giovanni Conte from Hanover Park at 106. Then 126 was Merlin DeLone from St. Benedict's Prep, but everything else I agree with.
Who'd you go with at 32, Don?
Dalton Weber.
I'm going with Santino Denise from Hanover.
He was my other choice. I was very, that's the one. I was like, that was the turning point for me, which deciding between Hanover Park and Pope John. I was just like, because I know Weber medaled last year. I'm like, okay, but 150, Joey Tantalai I hope I'm pronouncing that right because he always tells me and I always forget. Some idiot. Hanover Park, Nando Ott from Hanover Park at 157. Cole Dunham from Pope John at 165. Timolen Menbelig from St. Benedict's Prep at 175. Vincenzo Villaval at 190 from Hanover Park. I'm going to butcher this name at 215. Tagolder Bayaraku, I think. That's from St. Benedict's Prep at 215. And Graydon Karsich from Morristown at heavyweight.
My only difference was Sean Cornell at 150 for Morristown was my pick. And 215, I went with Sean Bauman from Pope John.
Who'd you go with at 285, Don?
I went with the Morristown kid, Karsich.
I'm going with Aiden Hamilton from Hanover Park at 285.
Perfect.
And at 190, I'm going with Vincenzo Laval, also of Hanover Park.
Head to District 13, Scotch Plains, Fanwood, Bayonne, Clark, Columbia, Eastside, Elizabeth, Hillside, Roselle Park, Seton Hall Prep, Scotch Plains, Fanwood, and Westfield. I'm going to be completely honest here. We covered three teams from this district. So I'm just going to say who they are. You guys tell me if they're interested. Some of these are a complete guesswork. So 106, Daniel Berardi from Westfield. 113, Jared Van Allen from Columbia, who set the new school record for wins this year. Seton Hall Prep, Anthony Pellegrino at 120. Andre Marrero at 126. Dylan Santz from Westfield at 132. Yihai Abdelrahman from West. I hope if I got that right. Wow. From Westfield at 138. Moises Vieira from Bayonne at 144. August Katz from Columbia at 150. Michael Cantwell from Scotch Plains, 165. Samuel Memo from Columbia, 165, excuse me. 175, Xavier Paulino from Bayonne. 190, Clark Rich from Seton Hall Prep. 215, Rocco Salerno from Seton Hall Prep. And 285, Cassius Velasquez from Bayonne, with my team champion being Seton Hall Prep.
My team winner was Seton Hall Prep as well. I've got Seton Hall Prep winning the first four weights from 106 to 126. Santz, 32. Yildiz from Seton Hall Prep, 144. I've got Mioses Vieira from Bayonne. 50, I got Katz from Columbia. Peter Sadek from Bayonne at 157. Ethan Forbes from Elizabeth at 165. 175 was tough, but I got Brandon Papa from Seton Hall. 190, Clark Rich from Seton Hall. 215, Rocco Salerno from Seton Hall. And then Emmanuel O'Croy from Eastside.
106, I've got Oliver Kreisman of Columbia. 113, I'm going with Jared Van Allen of Columbia. 20, I'm going with Anthony Pellegrino of Seton Hall Prep. 26, I like Marrero of Seton Hall Prep. God, I've got a lot of chalk here. I'm going with, and I'm going to, Jameer Wyatt of Elizabeth at 32. The guy that Don couldn't pronounce at the 1 seed at 38. Moises Vieira of Bayonne at 44. August Katz of Columbia at 13. Michael Cantwell of Scotch Plains Fanwood at 57. Samuel Memo of Columbia at 65. Xavier Paulino of Bayonne at 75. Clark Rich of Seton Hall Prep at 90. Rocco Salerno of Seton Hall Prep at 15. And I'm going to go with Cassius Velasquez of Bayonne at 285.
Now let's head down to a district we have a few people at, but we're going to be covering as well. District 14 at North Hunterdon. And of A.L. Johnson, Brierley, Bridgewater, Raritan, Irvington, Milburn, New Providence, North Hunterdon, Summit, Union, South Hunterdon. I'll run through these. If you guys have any difference, just shout them out. Caden Waddle, 106, North Hunterdon. Zachary Belverio, A.L. Johnson, 113. Matty Ortega, A.L. Johnson, 120. 126 and 132, both North Hunterdon. Reed Busby and Aiden Yeruzzi. 138, Ariel Azaredo from Union. 144, Braden Valley from New Providence. 150, Matthew McCann, Bridgewater. 157, Raymond Gunther from A.L. Johnson. 165, Matthew D. Eduardo from Bridgewater Raritan. 175, we got Evan Kinney from North Hunterdon. 190 and 215, Bridgewater Raritan, Rod Smalls and Trent Lavash. And 285, Samuel Henry from Summit Chatham.
106, Caden Wadle of North Hunterdon. Zachary Belvero from A.L. Johnson, 113. 120, I've got Joseph Salentano from North Hunterdon. 126, Reed Busby. 132 from North Hunterdon, Aiden Yeruzzi. 138, I got Logan Levine from Bridgewater Raritan. 144, Matthew Esposito from North Hunterdon. 150, Matthew McCann from Bridgewater Raritan. 157, Raymond Gunther from A.L. Johnson. 165, Matthew D. Eduardo from Bridgewater Raritan. 175 and 190, both North Hunterdon teammates of Evan Kinney and Owen Dandiel. 215, Trent Lavash from Bridgewater Raritan, and Samuel Henry at heavyweight for Summit Chatham.
The only differences I have from guys who you have both already called out. 57, I'm going with Joshua Joubert of North Hunterdon. 75, I'm going with Evan Kinney of North Hunterdon.
And I'm going with North Hunterdon for the team champion.
No question.
Agreed.
And then headed to our last district where we have Del Val and Voorhees. Watchung Hills at District 15. Bernards, Bound Brook, Del Val, Middlesex, North Plainfield, Pingree, Somerville, Voorhees, and Watchung Hills. 106, I got Tristan Fothrop from Del Val. At 113, I have Jacob Richardson from Watchung Hills. At 120, I have Jack Abramson from Pingree. 126, Anthony DeAndrea from Watchung Hills. At 132, I'm going to take, Ethan Dela Cruz from Bound Brook. 138, I am going to take, Michael Hassan from Del Val. For 144, I'm going to take, did I miss one? Did I accidentally skip somebody?
I think we got
okay. I don't know if I thought I skipped somebody. I'm sorry. I thought I it's like, wait a minute, I don't think my math's mathing right now. So 138 was Michael Hassan. 144. I like Doback from Del Val. 150. I'm going to go with Jackson Bush. 157. I'm going to go with Pritzlav. 165. I'm going to go with Valente from Watchung Hills. 175. I'm going to lean towards Jack Griffin from Middlesex. 190, I'm going to go with Sean O'Neill from Somerville. 215, I'm going to go with Chase Campanigro from Bernards. And at heavyweight, I am going to give the nod to Kenneth Ferrari from Watchung Hills.
So for me, I've got Watchung Hills, the team. No, it's a close one. Watchung Hills or Del Val, so that's a tough one for me. But at 106,
Hang on, James. I realized where I messed up. 126, okay. I had written down. I put his name down. Jaden Perez. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. No worries. So team winner was tough one. Watchung Hills or Del Val, but I'm going with Del Val here. So 106, I got Tristan Fothrop from Del Val. I've got at 113, I got Johnny D'Andrea from Voorhees. 120, 126, 32, 38, 44, 50. I've got all Del Val guys of Julian Bednar, Jaden Perez, Ty Falkenstein, Michael Hassan, Sebastian Dobak, and Jackson Bush. 157, it's Cody Pritzloff from Watchung Hills. 165, I've got Kwabina Morgan from Boundbrook. 175, Artan Kurgismus from Watchung Hills. 190, I got Sean O'Neill from Somerville. 215, Jake Garfaro from Watchung Hills. And then 285, I've got Exim Mercado from North Plainfield.
I'm going to go with Kenneth Ferrari, excuse me, of Watchung Hills at 285. And the rest I may as well have copied off of Clark's.
Never do that. You always fail school. So
it's true.
I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. So I think we did. I think with our picks, we're obviously some differences in where we're going to be and what we're doing. But if you're looking for any coverage and where we're going to be, as we said, we're going to be at District 3. John Kovac will be on the call there. We're going to be at District 8 at Montville. James Clark will be on the call there. We are going to be at District 14 at North Huntington. We'll have that. I think James DeCunto and others will be down there. I'll be at District 12 in Morristown, but we're happy you guys tuned in to join us. My picks that I made will be up on the site a little later tonight. You can refer back to them. You can message me and call me an idiot later on. It's up to you. But we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with the girls regions, and I'm going to get my newly birthed daughter and my still hangry wife some dinner. But we'll be back in like 15 minutes with the girls. But for James Clark, for John Kovac, for Jared, the podcasting legend, I'm Donald J. Brower. We'll talk to you soon. Doing it different, but let me